So this week's discussion prompt was on Miranda's philosophical proofs and the existence of God. The three arguments are ontological argument, cosmological argument, and teleological argument. The first one, the ontological argument, talks about how the greatest possible being must exist. St. Aslam puts our understanding in one box, and then our reality in another box, and God outside of that box. What that means is that God is not only inside of our minds, his idea, the existence of him in our minds, but also we see him in reality, that there is a God and he exists because he was embedded in our brains. I agree with this argument because it shows that God is embedded in our minds, but is also seen in reality, and there's always more to learn about God based on experience and gaining knowledge of how our minds work and why God was put into our minds in the first place. The cosmological argument is the argument of external force causes everything. Nothing can self-create. That's their first point of it. St. Thomas Aquinas, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Oh well. Infinity isn't possible because there is a first cause, and then there's a cause chain. So it starts out with this first cause, which would be God, and then it leads to everything else. For example, the Big Bang. Scientists can't figure out a beginning point of it, but this is proving that God's the one who started it because of the cause-effect chain. The third part of this argument is that God doesn't need a pre-existing cause. He just exists. And I find that this argument is self-contradictory because it says that everything needs a first cause, but then it says God doesn't need a first cause. So to me, that's contradictory. And the third argument is the teleological argument, which talks about how the universe is predictable and regular. There are laws that prove order. For example, the Newton's laws. There is a set order in which everything in life must follow, and there's an achievable end. So one of Newton's laws, I picture a ball that isn't moving, and then somebody goes and kicks it. That's the first cause. Somebody has to kick the ball for it to move. I agree with this because science proves it. Newton proved it. The Big Bang proves it because there's a first cause. It's predictable and it's regular. The universe is created. This argument is easy to agree with because it doesn't talk about how God existed in the first place, and it's not self-contradictory in that point. It doesn't talk about how, or at least in the portion that we got, it doesn't discuss how God needed a first cause to be able to move. So it doesn't contradict itself in that way. Overall, I think the one that I agree with most is the ontological argument, because you have this idea of God, so when you look outside, you're like, I don't know how that got there, how'd that tree get so big? And then there's like this little voice inside your head that's like,